Hey y'all, today is Thursday, March 26th. It is 7:04 p.m. and this week has been, I wouldn't say productive, but I wouldn't say unproductive either. So, I don't know what day I did this. Was this on Monday? I'm using my phone to record. I was about to check. I think I did this on Monday. So, I'm going to start with my rant. I think this was Monday. 3 days ago? That was Tuesday. So, I don't really know what happened on Monday, so I'm not really going to explicitly speak about Monday or really any day this week because really the only things that I've been doing this week and something that I've noticed while editing these vlogs that I have been editing the last few weeks is that I talk too much and I say too much stuff that I end up editing out anyway. So I am not going to harp or focus on what I did on any day this week, really, because I don't really remember, and that is not super important. What is important, however, is that I decided to leave my Instagram account that has 20,000 followers. I don't know if I've talked about this in a previous vlog already. I know I haven't recorded anything this week though, so I know I haven't talked about it this week because this is my first opening clip for this vlog, and we're starting strong. So I have noticed that my engagement has been horrible. With 20,000 followers, I've been averaging about 100 likes per stagnant post, which is ridiculous for 20,000 followers. So I decided to move accounts because of that. And I'm going to read the story post that I made about this because I think it's important to have everywhere. I did have a significantly more emotionally charged version of this on the internet at some point. However, I rewrote it and reposted it because this version still carries the same message without it having the vibe of me crying at 3 in the morning while typing, because that was what I was doing when I wrote the first one. This one, however, was written a day later, or 2 days later, with a clearer mind, but still a lot of frustration, but frustration that I can manage. So, it's only 8 story posts, but it's like a sentence or two per story post, so it's not that much. So let me read it. I said, I'm going to sum up my crash out the other night in a less emotionally charged way, and I would really appreciate it if y'all would read it, because I really need my followers to understand what I'm saying and what I really want for this account regarding engagement. And I will put a note in right here. The reason why I'm reading it here is because I would like this across all of my platforms, and that includes YouTube. The purpose of creating and posting on The purpose of creating and posting on social media for me has always been to build a community of people who genuinely enjoy what I create and to be interested in me as a person. I made the decision to leave my 20,000 follower account behind to start fresh because I saw that I was hardly getting any interaction on that account. Sometimes even unable to break 100 likes, which to some sounds like a lot, but as somebody with 20,000 followers, that's ridiculous. It's less than 1% of my following engaging with my art. However, the problem wasn't entirely that. A good chunk of it was the fact that I was getting roughly 3,000 to 5,000 views per stagnant post with those engagement numbers. People were seeing my posts, but not caring enough to engage with my art. For a long while, I thought that this had something to do with me, and maybe it does, but at the end of the day, from what I've seen from other artists and from speaking to other artists, it seems more like people just don't want to engage with art online anymore. People are more willing to engage with memes, rage bait, or trends, and that's not something I want to participate in anymore. And I would also like to add another note. People seem to engage with that stuff unless you're already famous in a specific niche. And I don't want to be in a specific niche. I want to just be myself on the internet. I want to create what I want. I want to make what I want. I don't want to adhere to trends. I don't want to conform myself. I don't want to have to conform to a specific niche. I want to be able to create freely on the internet. I want to be able to be myself on the internet without having to confine myself to a box to appease an algorithm. So that's what I mean by that. I continue with, I am not a content creator, I'm an artist. I want a community that feels like a community. I don't want to beg for comments, and I want you guys to read my captions and comment your thoughts. I want you to look at my art, and I want you to share it to others or leave a like or comment talking about the art or the comics I post. I don't want to have to scream and cry and throw up every few days or few weeks about this. I want to have a community of people who like my work without expecting anything in return aside from me creating more. And I would also like to stick a little pin in that and say that I'm specifically referencing like the whole moots thing that people have popularized in the art community, where it's, oh, if you follow me, I'll follow you and we'll interact with each other. But if you unfollow me, I'm unfollowing you. I don't want a transactional community. I want people who genuinely enjoy my stuff. I want people who genuinely enjoy me as a person and interact with me because they like me and they like my art. I don't want people interacting with me because they're expecting something in return from me, aside from me creating more and being on the internet. Seeing how few people came from my last account to this one has been another difficult thing for me to handle. I had worked so hard for 20,000 followers, and a little over 1.3% of my followers came over to this account with me. 300 some followers at the time of writing this from 20,000. It was so disheartening because I feel like getting 20,000 followers meant nothing, and I don't want to feel like that again. I'm proud of the work that I make, and I'm proud of the progress that I've made as an artist. However, I wouldn't post on social media if I didn't want to be social. I would just create and keep it to myself, or I would get my work put in galleries, or I would make comic books and art books and keep my art to that space rather than posting it online. I don't post to social media for any reason other than to be social. I want to hear from you guys. I want to see your thoughts. I want to have a conversation with you. I've been posting my art for 10 years, and up until recently, it's felt like I've made very little progress in terms of building a community, especially since getting a following and seeing my posts do about as good as they are doing now on my current account with roughly 300 followers. Another little pin. The reason why I mentioned up until recently I felt like I've made very little progress comment was because since posting my first crash out, people have been engaging. People have been interacting with my art, and I didn't want to discount what effort people were making. And at that time, I didn't really lean into that or focus on it as much as I should have, but that is what I meant. That's what I meant by that comment, is that I do see that people are doing better with it. And then I continue, if you're somebody who's been lurking, I want to hear from you. I want you guys to talk to me and engage with me. There's only so much I can do on my end, and I'm doing it. I can't log into your account and comment on my stuff for you. And I know that a lot of artists share my feelings on this. I've talked to many in the last few days and over the years, and a lot of you feel similarly. However, a lot of them don't want to talk about it because they feel like they're being ungrateful or greedy. I get how it could come off that way, but is it really greedy and ungrateful to want a community? People don't typically post on social media unless they want eyes on their work, unless they want to be social. Is it really so crazy to think people are greedy for wanting something that's the primary purpose of social media? I don't care if people think of me negatively for voicing my feelings about this, because I'm tired of pretending that this doesn't affect me. Yes, I'd love to have a large following, and I didn't finish my fucking thought when I typed that. So I would say, I'm going to add here, yes, I would love to have a large following. However, I want a community more. I want community more than I want a big following. I would rather have a small, active, engaging community than a large, quiet following. And then to continue with what I actually typed, I felt so accomplished and proud and excited when I hit 20,000 followers, but the hype petered out alongside my engagement, and I felt like there was something wrong with me or with what I was posting. I felt like I wasn't good enough, and that's why my posts weren't doing as well with my followers anymore. Yes, part of it is the algorithm. However, a big part of it was the fact that my followers, whether that was you or not, weren't engaging with my work and were inadvertently telling Instagram not to push my work out to others, which sucks. It sucks a lot as an artist to see that happening in real time on their posts. It's disheartening and it's discouraging. And to add another note, I have to look at the numbers. I can't just shut my numbers off. This is one of the very few things that I can do as a job, social media, because I am disabled. I don't have a lot of other avenues. I refuse to do sex work personally, so that will not be an avenue I will be pursuing. And I don't have many other avenues. Art is something that I've been passionate about my entire life. It is something I've always loved, always wanted. And this is what I'm going to fight for. However, that does mean I have to look at the numbers. I can't just shut my numbers off. I have to see what's happening, and I have to look at the comments, and I have to engage with my audience, even the ones that aren't being very nice to me. That is just part of it. So I would just like to mention that numbers are a part of the problem, but it's also something that I can't really avoid considering my circumstances. I continue. Art is something I'm so passionate about. I've been an artist since I was a baby. I've wanted to be an artist so badly, and I refuse to stay quiet about my qualms with how bad engagement has been. It's a lot better now, but because I screamed and throwed up about it a few nights ago, and I want y'all to engage without me begging. I want y'all to enjoy my work and to see my posts and to see me and talk. I want to talk to you. I want to engage. I want to hear what you have to say. I want people to care without begging. I'm not looking for pity. I want people to like my work because they like it, and I want them to say so when they do. I can guarantee most artists will feel this way as well, because I always hear artists talking about how much comments mean to them and how excited they get from a comment because they're so rare these days unless you have 4 million followers. And then I ended by saying, I'm very grateful for every comment and well wish I've been getting here. I'm very happy, and I'm also very worried about it petering out in a week or two, especially as more people follow me here and don't know what I want out of this account. I didn't leave my 20,000 follower account for nothing. I don't want to move here just for things to stay the same. And that is how I ended it. But yeah, that has been one of the bigger issues this week that I've been dealing with. I have been having to transfer to this account, and I did actually end up deciding to start posting from the very beginning of my art journey. So I've been posting stuff from 2015 and 2016, both to serve as a time capsule of sorts, to post all of my favorite work that I've posted over the years, but also to serve as a backlog so that I can post daily to appease to the algorithm without wearing myself out. And I've also decided to start posting my artwork that I create in real time on Patreon under my $5 tier. So if you are interested in that, the link is in my bio. It's $5 a month. There's also other benefits that you get from that tier. So you're not just going to be seeing my art. You're going to be seeing all of my art, but you're going to be seeing more than just my recent art. I also have a free tier if that is something you're interested in. That also has many benefits. But yeah, that's been what's been on my mind all week. This has been something that's been plaguing my every single day. I've been posting every day, and the engagement's great. First post has 100 likes and 34 comments. Second post has 116 likes and 28 comments. Third has 113 likes and 12 comments. Fourth has 115 likes and 20 comments. And the one that I posted today, which has only been up for 7 or 8 hours, I think 8 hours, has 83 likes and 26 comments. I am up to 650 followers now, which is really great. Still not a lot considering I had 20,000, but it's at least active people who are deciding to move over despite my bitching and despite me posting my old work and then also hiding my new work behind a paywall. However, it is not as a punishment. It's mostly because of the algorithm, and I need somewhere to post my current stuff. And Patreon seemed like the logical solution for that, the logical place for that. So I guess as a mini update for today, aside from all of that, I have not felt very good all day. I woke up not feeling good. I had lunch, and it also did not make me feel very good. I feel better right now. I feel hungry right now, which is great. However, I still don't feel great. I still feel like trash. My cats have been avoiding me all day, and I am a little bit frustrated in general, but what can you fucking do? So for the rest of the night, I think I'm going to be working on sit down stuff. So I need to edit this vlog not this one, but the one on my laptop, which is the vlog that's going to go up on April 12th. I'm editing that vlog, and then I need to edit my April 19th vlog, which was over my birthday week. And then this vlog, I still need to record a couple days for, so I'm not going to be doing it in this batch. But once all of these vlogs are done, I plan on uploading them to Patreon, uploading them to YouTube, and scheduling them out. And then after I do all of that is when I plan on going on Patreon, gathering all of my current work, all of the work that I have made this year or over the past year, and scheduling it to go out every day on Patreon as well. And then posting regularly on Patreon, like getting the Patreon set up so that it has those things going out every single day so that people are getting stuff every day. And then once again, it'll give me a little bit of a backlog if I post stuff from this past year over on my Patreon, especially because I plan on fully not deleting that Instagram account, but I plan on fully archiving everything at some point, which I need to do in the near future. I actually first need to go through my archives and get rid of anything that I don't want to repost, and then private the account. And it's mostly so that I don't lose the captions, because there are some things in the captions that I want to keep. For example, with Windtober, I wrote the poems in the captions. They don't exist anywhere else on the internet, anywhere else in general, except in those captions. So I can't just delete the account just yet. There are some things that I need to keep in. But once I get the Patreon set up and sorted out is when I plan on going and archiving everything on that account. And then, yeah, I want to try to get all of that done tonight, or at least get it started tonight. I do need to make dinner, though. I think I'm going to wash my pots and then finish editing this vlog that I'm working on, the April 12th vlog. Because all I really need to do is, I already have the transcription generated. I just need to read through it and delete stuff. Which, Lord have mercy. Oh God, and this starts the freaking kitten saga. Oh my God, I just saw a word that I know is from the start of the kitten saga. Lord have mercy. But anyway, so I'm gonna go wash my pot for dinner. Oh, one more thing. I played Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, the demo. It's so cute. It's such a cute game. I made myself my best friend and a character that her and I have made, and I made him our son. No notes. It's a wonderful game. I cannot wait for it to come out on April 16th, and I fully plan on paying the $50 fucking dollars or $60 that it costs to buy it. Fingers crossed that I have that $50 or $60 when it comes out, because I would like to buy it immediately. However, I may not be that lucky, so I don't know. Maybe I'll do a tarot reading, or maybe I'll open one singular commission for it. I don't know. But anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I once again don't feel good, but I think I think this morning I was feeling sick because of a flare-up, and then also lunch was a flare-up. But I think right now it's my blood sugar, because there was a very short period where I felt fine. So I think right now it's my blood sugar. And I think it's just blended with a chronic flare-up, and then now it went up a little where I was like, ooh, I feel pretty okay, and now it's like dipping back down because of my blood sugar. But yeah, I'm gonna go. I think I'm just gonna edit my vlogs tonight. I don't have any coursework due today, so I don't really need to worry about that. I'm just gonna edit my vlogs and do everything else that I mentioned. So it was good talking to you guys. Lord have mercy, I still talk for 21 minutes. Will I ever stop fucking yapping more at 10? I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible because I have groceries coming and I would like to be done with this vlog, if I'm going to be honest. Deepest apologies if you hear my hand fumbling with the mic. I am, in fact, fumbling with the mic. So I don't know when I recorded last. I haven't sent it to my laptop. However, I do believe it was a couple of days ago, and just about nothing has happened over these last couple of days, so it's going to be pretty easy for me to catch you guys up. So I might actually just catch you up on today. And yesterday, I changed my monitor. My monitor has been changed. I changed that on Wednesday. I had another appointment with my therapist on Tuesday the 24th, and it sucked, and I decided to stop seeing him. He started talking about the path of forgiveness for my parents and how forgiving them is more for you than it is for them. And while I do understand that forgiveness can be very healing for some people, that person is not me. I do not have a forgiving bone in my body for those people. I want them to suffer the way that I did. And that's it. And that is where I end. That brings me, the thought of them suffering the way that they made me suffer brings me peace. So the second a therapist starts talking about forgiveness, the second I'm gone, because I don't fuck with that. I don't. And usually when they already have that core belief that forgiveness is what heals you, they don't let it go. And I know this because I've tried with other therapists. I've tried to be like, no, that's just not for me. I just don't really subscribe to that idea. They usually don't let go of that idea that forgiveness is the way. And so I just canceled my next appointment with him and I scheduled with somebody else. I did very begrudgingly reschedule with another man because I am using my second therapist as a way to interact with men in a safe environment. So I did schedule with another man. My primary therapist is a woman, and I love her, by the way. She's wonderful. She's just not always available. She will... Sometimes I will have to see her every other week, and by sometimes a lot. And she's late a lot too. She does show up to the meeting, or she does show up to the session, and she does give me extra time when she's late. However, she is late very frequently, and she very frequently can't see me every single week when I need therapy every single week. So I do have a second therapist, so that some weeks I only have one therapy session and some weeks I have two. I'd rather it be that way than some weeks I have one and some weeks I have none. So I did schedule with another man. If this therapist does not work well, if I don't work well with him, if I don't enjoy him, I'm just going to go to another woman. I will be giving... maybe I'll give men a third chance. I might do a third male therapist, and if he also sucks, then I will proceed to just have a woman be my second therapist. But anyway, so that happened on Wednesday. Thursday, I don't really remember what happened on Thursday. I know that I did all my coursework, and I think I just rested this week again. I've been also messing with moving my Instagram accounts and all of that nonsense that goes with it, because this week has just been a mess regarding the algorithm and regarding my followers and people trying to come at me sideways for voicing my real life human emotions on the internet and acting like I'm being weird or like bitchy for talking about how I feel in a real way. And frankly, I don't care if people think I'm a bitch. I used to care. If you wanted that to hurt me, or you should have called me that 6 years ago, because that's when being called a bitch would negatively impact me. However, now I don't consider that to be an insult. When somebody calls me a bitch, that to me it comes off, oh, so I'm being firm and I'm holding my boundaries, because that's typically what I'm doing whenever I'm called a bitch. So it's just a compliment that I am capable of holding my boundaries and holding my own and not being pushed around and not being tone policed by people on the internet, in my space on the internet specifically. None of y'all will ever tone police me on my fucking accounts. I will say that. None of you watching, none of you following, none of you nothing. You will not tone police me on my account. You will, however, if I'm saying some fuck shit, you will let me know, because I'm open to learning. I'm open to constructive criticism. If I say something that's bigoted and I don't realize it's bigoted, I'm open to that. But if I'm talking like how I am currently, and if you go into my comment section and you're like, oh my God, you have such a bad attitude, I don't fucking care. I do not care how you perceive me. However, I am open to learning and I'm open to becoming a better person. But becoming a better person doesn't mean changing my tone. That's not being a better person, because I know who I am. I know what I stand for, and I know I'm a good person. I don't need to try and prove it to people because I know who I am. And that's how I feel when people try to tone police me on the internet. Because when somebody tells me, you're just so bitchy, like, I don't want to, like, why would I want to support you? Good. I don't care. I would rather you not support me if you don't support me when I'm being bitchy, because this is a part of who I am. I'm a bitch. That's just how it is. But anyway, all of that aside, that has been a mess on the internet. Some people have been coming at me sideways, and that has been pissing me off. That has been pissing me off. And maybe I'll talk about it more in depth later. I am currently trying to speedrun this clip because I spent fucking hours trying to edit my vlogs, and I would edit them from a lot of my clips in these vlogs that I just edited. The whole clip would be 2 hours. After cutting out bullshit filler that I'm just talking about, and after cutting out me repeating the same things over and over again, it would go from 2 hours to 30 minutes. Some of my vlogs are 30 minutes long when they were 2 hours originally. And that's because I cut out my filler words, I cut out my pauses, and I cut out a bunch of fucking nonsense that I was talking about. And I would cut out all the repeating shit that I would talk about, because I'll say the same thing over. And I don't realize it. That's the thing, is when I'm talking, I don't really realize it. But anyway, so yesterday was Friday, and I decided to revamp, sorry, I'm looking at my notebook. I decided to revamp my Patreon and have it be set up so that I can have my posts go up, like my posts as I create them go up. But then I also I realized that my tiers they're not expensive, but they're like, I don't have a $1 tier, but I do have a free tier. So I wanted to make my tiers be a little bit more beneficial for y'all, for you guys. So I'm revamping my Patreon just a little bit. It's not a lot. There are a couple things that are being moved around, which kind of sucks because I'm going to have to edit how stuff looks and where stuff goes, but whatever. So I decided that for my free tier, you're going to get all my works in progresses, all the art that I've abandoned, concept art, works in progresses of my upcoming comic, Catholic and Cowgirl, newsletters, a monthly newsletter, and it's mostly just going to be like art updates or like stuff that I'm working on, stuff like that. It's just going to be like a general, hey, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm thinking about doing, this is what I'm working on, this is what I'm thinking about working on, and stuff like that. Inspo dumps, which is basically going to be like, I'm going to try to save what pictures I use or find on Pinterest and be like, this is the stuff that I'm using to create whatever I'm making. This is the inspo that I used. And then public voting on like minor decisions. So if I'm having trouble deciding, Lucas, stop it. Quit being weird under the desk. Lucas, stop being weird under the desk. Y'all are just gonna have to deal with him being weird under the desk. So public voting on minor details. So if I'm having trouble deciding on some outfits for a character design or a color palette or chapter titles or whatever, that's when y'all are going to be able to vote. And this is the free tier. So this is, you just follow the page and you have access to this stuff. And then the $5 tier is all of my current art as I create it, concept art for The Painter's Daughter and for Fallen Star, storyboards for both of those comics as well, behind the scenes stuff, personal life updates like the newsletter, but like personal stuff. So like stuff that I'm doing in my day-to-day life, stuff that's happening in my, things like that. Hi. He's just chilling. Monthly ask my characters anything type things. So it's going to be like an ask me anything, but I'm going to have specific characters up and you can ask those characters certain questions. And then there's going to be like a thank you to patrons page. And then you get your name, your Patreon display name on that. And then I'm going to try to do desktop and phone backgrounds. I don't know how I'm going to do that. A lot of my art, well, I'll figure it out. And then the $10 tier, it's going to be any poetry and short stories that I will write or have written. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be exclusive to Patreon. None of this is going to be considered exclusive to Patreon. At some point, all of this will be released to the general public. This is all early access. You all just get it now rather than getting it. What are you looking at me like that for? Look at how he's shaped. What is this shape? What are you doing, dude? You're shaped so funny. I think we're going to keep this. I think we're going to keep this angle. So, any poetry or short stories that I write, no context spoilers for any of my projects. So, for example, I could talk about something that happens, but it's very vague, so you don't know who it's affecting. Catholic and Cowgirl updates. So, that's going to be when I start creating Catholic and Cowgirl. It's going to be long before I start getting current with my account on social media. So this is going to be where you guys are going to be getting the chapters, because I want to start working on Catholic and Cowgirl within the next couple months. I'm going to have a backlog long before I'm going to have a backlog for a very long time. It's likely going to be close to a year. I need to hurry the fuck up because my order just got here. Actually, I'm going to pause this. God, I wish I got an update that he was fucking coming, or that he was here. But anyway, sneak peeks into my art process, free Procreate brushes, exclusive world building notes, and then votes on what comics get prioritized, and then votes on bigger decisions like plots and content focus. And then the $15 tier is access to all my old comics and projects, access to a not safe for work art account for my characters, but you'll have to verify that you're 18 with me personally before I give you that username, so that this tier is okay for minors to be in, because the not safe for work is on a separate account that I have to give you the username to and then verify that it's actually you and that you're 18. Deleted scenes, access to all of my old art and archives, access to all of my current and future zines for free, bi-yearly sketch requests for members, a monthly Discord call / Q&A thing, and it's going to be like a group call with me and everybody in that tier. And then option to name / design minor characters and projects. So that would mean like you would just have the ability to name a character, or to be like, hey, I want to be a background character. Here's a picture of me. I want to be a background character. Or can me and my partner be a background character? Or something like that. It's going to be, or hey, I have an OC that I want to have be a background character. And then I'll say, yeah, that works, or no, that OC doesn't work in my universe. Do you have another one? You know what I mean? So that's the gist. I worked on that all night last night, and then I ate a spoonful of ice cream with the plans of continuing everything that I was going to do, and then I got sick from said spoonful of ice cream. I will talk about what I've done today later, because again, my groceries just got here and I need to bring them in because I have cold stuff in. And so I will talk to you guys later. Bye. So, it is a little bit later. It is the same day. It's still Saturday, March 28th, but it is 6:35 p.m. My groceries got here. I put them away when I said I did, and then I mopped, I wiped all my surfaces, and I went and I took a shower, and now my pots are boiling so that I can make dinner. And we're here to do the rest of today and then the outro. So today I woke up at 9:30. Andy was up here, like up on the top part of the couch, and that freaked me out because he has a hard time moving on his 3 legs on solid ground. So him being up here on very unstable ground, I was very nervous he was going to fall that way onto the tile, especially because he has fallen off the couch from this way before because he just lost his footing. So I was worried, so I just stayed up, and by the time he got down, because I didn't want to take him down either, because I wanted him to like enjoy, because he obviously wanted to be up there. He liked it up there, and I didn't want to take that away from him, so I did just let him sit up there, and I just supervised him. I sat on my phone and just kept an eye on him. I got up. I don't really remember what time I got up, but I didn't really do much of anything when I got up. I didn't even run my robot vacuum, which is crazy because I usually do that every day. And I didn't even run it at all today. I sat here idly And then I made my post like I typically do, my Instagram post, and then I posted across all social media platforms. And then I had another little crash out because people were not engaging with my... Get out of here! God damn it. It was a moth, by the way. That's what scared me so bad. It was a fucking moth. It was a little moth. Jeez, I thought it was a wasp. But anyway, oh my god. Nobody was engaging with my work, so I crashed out once again. And so I made my account that had 20,000 followers on it private. And as a result, I had to turn it off of the business account thing. So I lost all of my analytics, so I couldn't show people what I was talking about when I said, I can see that you guys aren't, that you're seeing my posts, but you're just not engaging with them. I see that it's on your end, that I'm doing what I can and I'm doing what I should be doing, but it's you guys. And that happened again on the new account. So I was able to be like, this is what I mean. Let me see if I can pull it up. So it was my most recent post. It had 145 views. 86% of those views were from followers, and 74% of that 86 had seen it on their feed, which means Instagram is showing my post to roughly 120 people. And on their feed, they're naturally seeing it on their feed. 74% of my followers are seeing my post show up on their feed. And it had 8 likes. 2 comments, one of them was me, and 1 reshare. And I said, now what have I been screaming about all week? What have I been yelling at you guys all week about? This is what Instagram looks for when they are determining whether or not to push out a post and determining whether or not to suppress somebody's posts. And I said, this is the engagement. This is what tells Instagram to not push people's work. It takes a single second to double tap and scroll, and it takes, 2 minutes to read a caption and maybe an additional minute or 2 to type a thoughtful comment, and then it takes 15 seconds to leave a quick 3 hearts or, wow, this is cool type comment. And I said, so yes, I am annoyed with people. The algorithm plays a part in it being set up the way that it is, but I can't go talk to the Instagram algorithm. But what I can do is talk to the people who are following me and ask that they please fucking engage with my art if they like it and or want to support me. And to unfollow me if they don't. Unfollowing isn't an offensive thing to me. My best friend in the whole world doesn't follow me on Instagram. Especially since I'm posting my old art. I get that some people don't want to see that on their feeds. And that's totally fine to wait until I'm posting more current stuff, but engaging isn't hard. I'm not asking people to write an essay in my comment section every day or to make billboards for my work. I'm asking for support that costs nothing more than a couple seconds of your time And I don't think I'm asking for much. And then there was another post where I said, I know I'm talking about this a lot, and I know I'm really harping on this. There's going to be a point where I stop yapping about this. There's going to be a point when I give this conversation up. Or alternatively, there's going to be a time where I don't talk about it as much, but I'm still talking about it. But that right now it's just irritating because it's still a tender spot for me that I had an account with 20,000 followers and I thought I had so much support. And when I initially got all those followers, I had this sense of, oh my God, I might actually be able to build something with my art now. I might be able to build some kind of career off of this because I have a bigger following. Maybe there's going to be more opportunities for me to grow. And it just never happened. And it's disappointing to accept that because I clung to that account for so long. Just out of fear of losing, never getting 20K again. But I'm starting to realize that I would much rather have a small active community than a large following of ghost followers. And somebody commented back, somebody responded to my story in my DMs and said, honestly, in my opinion, you should talk about it more. It's really disheartening to see your engagement drop but still get views. If you stop, it'll just go right back to no engagement after a while. And I said, this is what I'm worried about. As soon as I stop, it'll just dip again. And I'll probably keep talking about it, I suppose. I'm just more so hoping that it'll get to a point where I can talk about it in a less emotionally charged way because I'm really frustrated when I'm typing these up and I'm sure it's not helping my bitch allegations. And then I made a story post being like, not me acting like I haven't confirmed the bitch allegations. Because I don't deny being a bitch. Literally in my last clip, I was talking about how I am a bitch. And I don't mind being perceived as a bitch. I don't. I really don't. But I know that other people get like a sour taste in their mouth when somebody's labeled a bitch. But I don't care. As much as I want to be soft and gentle and sweet, I would rather be kind, straightforward, and firm in my boundaries. And additionally, I would rather hold my own and stand up for myself. I think it's ridiculous that people don't engage with artists that they like. I think that's dumb. Why are you following people? You, the person watching this video right now, if you follow somebody and you don't interact with their stuff, why are you following them? Why do you follow them if you don't interact with their work when you see it? Keynote, by the way, when I'm talking, keynote, key thing, when you see them. I'm not saying it's your fault if the algorithm just isn't showing you your favorite artists. But what I am saying is when you see them in your feed and you don't engage with them, don't complain when you stop seeing them, and don't complain when they complain about the algorithm or about people not engaging with their work, and don't complain when they quit. Because the whole point of posting on social media is to be social. People who do not want to be social and to interact with an audience don't. They don't do it. They typically don't post on. So I know so many artists who don't post online. My best friend is an artist and she barely ever posts online because she's not a social girly. She doesn't want to have a social media following. I've tried to convince her time and time again to build a social media following, that people would love her art, that people would love her personality. And she doesn't want to, because she doesn't want to do that. She doesn't want to have that interaction with people online. And that's how it should be. People are on the internet posting because they want their stuff to be seen. They want people to see what they're creating. They're not just posting for nothing. People don't just post on the internet for no reason. People post online to be seen, and people post online to build a community. There's legitimately no other reason. That's like the whole bullshit thing with art moots, is that's to build a community. But to me, that's an artificial community. I don't want that kind of community. I don't want a community that is... Are you drooling on me? I don't want a community that will expect me to do something in return for engagement. I don't like that. Let me rephrase it. I don't want people to expect stuff out of me in return for engagement. Specifically, if, for example, I'm sick or I just don't see their post, and then they go and talk shit about how, Wynn said that she wanted to be art moots, but then like she never likes my stuff and never engages with my stuff, but I always engage with her. You know what I mean? I want it to be genuine. I want people to interact with my stuff because they like it, not because they're expecting something from me, not because it's transactional. I want people to engage with me because they like my stuff. They like what I'm creating. They like my stories. They like my characters. That's it. I don't want people to engage with me because they expect something out of me other than to post more. And that's how I want it to be. I don't want people to... I don't want it to be transactional. At that point, just pay for followers. Just pay for followers at that point. If... I need to get off this topic. I'm going to keep going about it, and I've already talked about it plenty. Anyway, so... I posted my stuff. I idly waited for my groceries to get here because they were supposed to be here between 3 and 5, and they didn't get here till 5:20, 5:30 almost, which was really annoying because I was holding off on eating because I was like, man, there's so much stuff in the grocery order that I'm going to get that I really want to eat, so I think I'll just wait for lunch. So because it's supposed to be here around 3 anyway, so I'll just have a late lunch. I'll have lunch at 4. Groceries didn't even fucking get here till 5:30. And now it's 6:47 and I haven't had dinner yet. But anyway, so my groceries get here finally. I filled my planner. I got my planner all filled out for next week. Well, almost. I did the week. Like, I did the week side. I haven't filled out my, like, to-do list for next week just yet. I'll do that at some point tonight or tomorrow. But I filled that out, and then the groceries got here. I put them away. I mopped my floors. I wiped down surfaces, and then I went and I took a shower. Luckily, I had done a little bit of laundry beforehand as well. So I had clean and warm clothes to get into and a warm towel to dry off with when I got out of the shower, because I hit the dryer before I brought my groceries in so that they would be drying while I was doing this stuff and getting warm. I took my shower. I washed my pots, and now we're here. And the plan for the rest of the night is I want to, well, I actually have done some of this stuff. So after I eat, I'm going to let that settle, as I always do. And then I want to edit my Patreon tiers to get them set up how I told you guys are going to be set up, which means I'm also going to have to edit a few posts. Not a lot, thankfully, but I am going to have to edit some posts to make them, to get them correct. And then I need to make a pinned post for my Patreon that, like, explains everything, like how to join, the Discord link. And then I also need to add what's in my free tier and add all the changes. I just need to make a big pinned post for people who join. And then I will be scheduling posts for Patreon. I'm going to be putting up my stuff that I've made in the last 6 to 12 months. And I'm going to have one post go up every day so that something is going up every day on Patreon. And then I will be editing this vlog. And then I just want to make some drawing ideas. I want to come up with some stuff to draw for Patreon as well. It'll eventually get posted publicly, but it's technically for Patreon right now. And yeah, so that's everything. I'm currently making dinner. I will be having, I don't know what I'm having, but I will be eating probably in the next 30 or so minutes. And I'm just going to be doing that and chilling for the rest of the night. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing some coursework and then sending out a couple emails for the outreach committee meeting next week. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that is going to be it for this vlog. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys for joining me, and I will see you guys next week. Take care. Andy.